Hello, welcome to today's Back to the City. I'm joined by my good friend, Chance York, who I am very excited to reveal is playing at this month's All Twin Cities Hip Hop Back to the City Showcase on the final Thursday of the month at Mortimers. Today, we're going to go on a journey through Deep Dark Hope.
All right.
Deep Dark Hope. But we're also going to get a sense of all of the different things that you do.
Yeah.
Including, so you're a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
At One Yoga and elsewhere.
All over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Occasionally you're my yoga teacher. I promise to get more into the practice again.
Yeah, come on back.
2020. I'm going to come back. Now you've moved just down the street from me.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You're going to come back.
That's right.
So what else do you do?
You know, as far as, like yoga teacher kind of expanded into other realms that I was trained in. An educator. I was getting my master's in teaching not long ago. I have a background in just teaching, education, social work type stuff. Mm-hmm. So the benefits of yoga is not just the asana or the physical poses and practice, but really the internal work and the lifestyle or just perspectives of a more whole being, holistic health. Mm-hmm. So I'm in a lot of roles as a different type of educator, or some refer to as like an energy entrepreneur. Yeah. So I work in educational settings and community settings, nonprofit settings, corporate settings, and I bring that perspective or a lens that's more holistic as far as wellness and seeing the bigger picture of all of it, as far as how energy ripples out.
Yeah, everything's connected.
Everything's connected.
We're all just a part of it.
You got it. Quoting the classics. Okay, all right.
Yeah, much more of that to come. I really like that title, Energy Entrepreneur. Can you expand just a little bit more on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I ultimately believe when I show up somewhere, it is to bring a certain perspective, mm-hmm. or an energy, or mm-hmm. A lens. Like I was saying, it's really easy for us to be caught in the rat race of competition and material gain and success and money and pride, more or less, like how other people view us, and
competition, comparing oneself to others and like trying to be doing better.
Ego / consumerism / productivity type, so all of that is fine and well. I feel it's like the preset of our social structure is very much based on this consumer capitalist idea, which is fine, but it's not. If anything, that's an extreme of one side of something. Yeah. And to bring balance to that is simply bringing a perspective that there is more important stuff than profits or bottom lines or like money when it comes to ecology and wellness, health, and it's easy for me, or the way that I spend my mind space. In my perspective, there's a lot of larger structures that are broken, or not serving what they say they're serving, rather than serving profits. Mm-hmm. So health care, people call that sick care, because it's not about actually creating health, it's about treating sick, so and that's not to solve the problems, that's to just continue treating it for profit, mm-hmm. because that is what a capitalist should do, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing with education, it's not really to educate, it's not really to grow the better, for the betterment of humanity, to grow whole beings that are aware and really fixing problems. It's growing people to turn profit. Yep. So as an entrepreneur, mm-hmm. I'm a business, and it's although money is a part of it, it's really a means to an end versus the end. Like, I'm not doing it just to get rich. Yeah. I work to bring energy to bring a perspective of a larger pond or bigger ripples, like noticing what does your company do, what does your school do, what does your life, what do you in your life do? And that's, you've been in a yoga class of mine. Intention is very much the center of it. What are you doing with your energy? Like, why are you breathing on this planet? It's not to get a fat bank account. I mean, it might seem like that for at least in some perspectives or some situations. It's like, I need my bank account fatter.
But why? That's a part of it.
Right, and I was gonna say, yeah, that is to live in this world, like you do need means, but the means is not the end, that's not the end of it. So in a lot of cases, people just need a reminder, and I feel like if my gift is more or less trying to broaden people's perspective or just realign their energy with their intention. Because nobody, I don't believe, or I try not to believe, or it's a practice of mine, people aren't inherently bad. We are simply just doing our best to do what we believe is right, even though a lot of what we believe is right has been hijacked by powers with profit in mind.
I concur.
Yeah.
As does Brene Brown.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Brene Brown. Yeah.
Everyone is doing the best.
Yeah. Oh man, I've used that perspective several times in my own life, just to be more compassionate and forgiving, because I'm a work in progress too. Like I'm trying to be more compassionate, understand everyone is doing the best they can.
I think it's true and quite radical.
Yeah, it is.
So what you were saying reminds me of the song Own Dope. Specifically the fact that it's not in the interests of the capitalists for us to become our authentic, whole selves that are not ashamed of certain parts and are not aware that all of us are doing the best that we can. Doesn't suit the capitalists. We're much harder to use. I would agree with that as well. I always come back to this idea that, like, some of the greatest minds in science and computer technology and art and entertainment and psychology are all in the field of marketing, and marketing's goal is to make you feel incomplete. Like, you need this good or service to feel okay, and we're getting pummeled by that from every direction any given day, in the most insidious of ways, and in the ways that, like, apps and stuff on phones are created and refined by the same people that create software for, like, the casino floors and slot machines and stuff, to make people, to give us these pleasure senses. And social media apps.
And it's meant to be addicting and make you feel like you need more. So that's coming from everywhere all the time, and that creates both this yearning for some external good or service to please us, or validation, like a like or a comment or whatever,
as opposed to doing the internal work.
Well, it just leaves us susceptible and wanting more, so we're going to buy more stuff. We're going to buy it for the wrong reasons. We're going to buy it so and so thinks a certain way about us, or because we'll feel good about it, but we'll only feel good about it for a couple days before it's back to just feeling hollow or like something's missing. So the idea of being incomplete very much works for the capitalist, or it makes you a better consumer. It makes you buy stuff. It makes you more impulsive, and then to keep up with that, you gotta go get another job or whatever. So, and you'll settle for shittier conditions or whatever, and it just makes you more like kind of a slave to the external world, versus coming from the truth or the perspective that you are whole as you are. You don't need anything else. That other stuff, getting to the real, like, intention, like what is that new car gonna really give you? Like, besides, besides being perceived by other people a certain way or whatever, is it a means to an end or is it an end itself, and how are you framing it?
Yeah, what need does it meet? What need does it meet?
Yeah, and then like Own Dope is essentially about that. I wrote that song a couple years ago, and like my path and my awakening and my studies and training and stuff have come a long way in the past 2 years. But that was an essential building block of my current philosophy is
the insight that's in that song.
Yeah, well, it's like
encapsulated
I'm
in
my
that
own
song.
work. If I just keep on working on myself,
Yeah.
good things are gonna come from it. Like either I'm gonna let go of false needs or wishes for external things,
Or just less, not necessarily false, but just less authentic.
Yeah, or and prioritize what matters.
Yeah.
And I believe our most powerful currencies are both time. We always hear time is money, or how you spend your time.
Yeah.
But what they don't talk about is your attention.
Yeah.
Because time and attention together are wealth.
And that's a recurring focus throughout.
So yeah, so the like the apps and stuff, it's just snatching your attention, your likes, your time, all of those things are being poured into something outside of here and now.
Yep.
But when you pay your attention inward, when you spend time on yourself, it's an investment that pays you back with more attention and more time. So you become more valuable the more time you spend inward and being able to let go of those external things that are trying to snatch your attention away.
Yes. Yeah, you were talking about addiction just before we began the interview. There can be addiction to drugs, gambling, sex, chaos, all these addictions. And you said something really interesting about the roots of addiction.
Yeah, no, I've been a big fan of Russell Brand and his podcast, and a bunch of other teachers along the same lines, contemporary, sages more or less, or people that have lived their lives and realized there's something bigger, and their purpose is to help bring attention to bigger ideas. And his kind of spiritual model, or his form of practice, is the 12-step program. And something that I've heard him say that he was reciting from someone else, which is all I do pretty much too. All great wisdom that I've ever said I learned from somewhere else. It's not
trademark, Chance York.
Right, yeah. Don't you dare repeat it without quotations. No, but he said all yearning for external pleasures, whether it's chemicals or experiences or whatever, is actually just a misplaced yearning for a relationship with the divine, or whatever that is. The divine means a lot of things. Whatever falls in place to you when God is said, or universe, or the spirit, or all the different words that we use that to describe this thing that's bigger than our own personal drives, our own resentments, and our own anxieties, and our own goals and monetary needs, or whatever.
I find that really interesting in the context of thinking about addiction. We become addicted to all of these external things, and we want the high, and thinking about dopamine. But then, if one is one's own dope, someone said to me, I was at like a sound healing thing the other day, and someone was talking about becoming addicted to good practice.
Yeah, exactly. which at with the exact same point, it can be an obstacle towards your actual liberation from yourself.
Right.
But I think that's like a level deeper in. Like, you have to first start looking in, because some of the greatest teachers, if ultimately the goal of self-awareness is to become nobody, first you got to become somebody. So I feel like a lot of us are just somewhere else, and first we have to become somebody. So first we have to understand our own divine in us, and then be able to let it go.
Let that go.
Yeah. So, but. As far as dopamine you know, even like cannabinoids, opioids, DMT, all of these things are produced in your brain. And I've been, you know, immersed in several actual teachers that teach you how to release those things. So a combination of both Dr. Joe Dispenza, who you and I have discussed several times, and
very good book. Thank you for introducing me to this.
Yeah, no, it was life-changing for me. But then also Wim Hof is you know, the Iceman is a brilliant teacher, and his techniques are so applicable. Like you can just learn on a YouTube in 10 minutes how to get high on your own supply, and that's not only just like, hey, this is a really cool mental experience, but it is physically like one of the best things you can do for your body and self-healing and changing your relationship with how you use your body as a vessel of self-healing.
Yep, and it gets to the Wim Hof method is a really good example of not being affected by the external.
Yes.
Yeah? What is the Wim Hof method?
Wim Hof, he's a dude that he holds 26 Guinness Book of World Records. He's a Dutch guy that came from, he had a really traumatic experience in his life, and he was searching for answers. He was, you know, stuck in his mind. He was depressed. He was, you know, anxious. He was uncertain about the world. And he said, you know, this cold water, this icy cold water was calling to him, and he got in it and feeling the sensations of just bitter cold and like the body's need to fight for like primal survival was the only thing that could get him out of his trapped mind and get him unstuck. And he just fell in love with going into the cold, getting immersed in frozen stuff. So ultimately, you know, fast forward 15 years, the dude developed a practice of breath work and cold exposure that is now, you know, research backed to be able to withstand illnesses. You know, they injected him with E. coli in laboratory settings. They couldn't make him sick. Now they use this method is practiced by millions of people worldwide, including like Oprah and Tom Hanks and world-class fighters and all this stuff, because it makes your body do things you never knew were possible, both exposure to cold or hot or pain or illness, and that's, you know, you can look it up online, WIMHOF, or otherwise the Iceman. Vice did a special on him. But I started practicing this method about 2.5 months ago. Now I can hold my breath for over 4.5 minutes. And that's not like a struggle, and it's not like to brag, like I can hold my breath the longest. I'm like, I'm amazed by, I thought that was impossible.
By the capacity, the human capacity.
As soon as you change your story about who you are and what you can do, your body will believe you.
Catch up. Yeah, right. Yes, how interesting that it was through leaning into survival that he discovered this method. Because, you know, to quote from Dr. Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural, which he, again, introduced me to. Thank you. If we keep living in survival, and we are overly sexual, over-consuming, or overstressed by living our lives from the first three energy centers, we keep drawing from this invisible field of energy, carrying information that surrounds the body, lowering the frequency of the signals, creating disease. We could say that from an energetic level, all disease is a lowering of frequency and an incoherent message. So it's interesting how, you know, if we get caught up in survival to the without an awareness of the place of that within the whole, then it can lead to
chronic survival. You're chronically in survival mode instead of, because your body can't tell the difference. But when your body's really in survival mode, then it deals with it, it changes your chemistry, and then moves beyond it when you remove the stressor. So when you come back to normal temperatures, or you get out of the icy water or the cold shower or whatever, the stress dissipates. And it takes with it stored stress that you didn't even know you had. So cold showers, like I posted a video on the internet of like, I went outside in just some shorts, barefooted, I laid down in the snow, my daughter buried me in snow, and you know, that was a challenge. It wasn't like easy, but I loved it, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like the cold is able to expose you to stress you didn't know was there. because your natural response to cold is clench everything, squeeze, close everything off, and feel like, oh, no, 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 no. When that's a mental, emotional reaction to a stressor or a external force.
Yeah.
When instead you respond with, yes, yes, relax, 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 then you learn more and more about yourself. So you start separating your emotions from your sensations to reframe how you experience the world. So if we automatically think cold, bad, I don't like that, you respond with clenching and trying to block it out. When actually to create heat through it is relax, soften everything, relax, 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 and your body knows what to do. Your body will increase blood flow to these different points. If you're flexing and clenching, it's closing off all that subtle tissue that would be filling with blood. And when you do this, you are exposing yourself to stress, but then when that external stressor leaves, that stress that was in you leaves with it.
Yeah, I love that. It's analogous to, you know, when we were raising the question earlier, you know, why do I need to have the money? What's the deeper reason? The similar kind of thing is happening now with survival. It does all come down to survival and flourishing, but there are maybe some false beliefs, or again, just not fully true beliefs about what survival is and the place within the broader whole.
And when you think of survival, if we are just our body, right? If we're thinking of like, oh, I got to survive this body, well, the body is the ego. And if the ego, so say something just like a, you know, my way of life. Like I like to barbecue on 4th of July. I like to drive a big old truck. I like to have a bunch of guns, you know, and like that's your ego in reality. If anything challenges that, whether it's life or death, it feels as though it's life or death. Right. And you respond in a survival response, or you feel stressed, like your life is actually under threat because your way of life or your story about who you are is being questioned or challenged.
Yes.
And people don't like that. So this is the only way to actually change a paradigm is to understand where your own story is problematic, which all of us are, you know, through societal indoctrination, through our education, through our parents and ancestors. We have this identity that's been shaped, and at its core is problematic in a bunch of ways, you know, in you know, the ability to both embrace what is good about it and release what is problematic about it takes a bunch of self-study.
The most recent book that you've put me onto is A Fierce Heart by Spring Washam. And it says that if you were to write your own autobiography, so, you know, continuing with this idea of the stories that we tell about ourselves, it would be filled with triumphs and tragedies, laughter and tears. Each of us has stories of how we came to be the person we are today. And rather than beating ourselves up for like not telling a very good story, alternatively, although our circumstances are unique and our backgrounds diverse, the threads of all our journeys can be woven together into a beautiful integrated tapestry. Cultivating a Fierce Heart, which is what the book is called, Fierce Heart, is about learning to embrace it all, even the most painful aspects of our lives, every experience and all of ourselves. We have to open up everything in order to transform it. And there's this focus on like the mud, you know, we can become the lotus flower. The mud is what enables. So owning that mud, accepting, radical acceptance. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned shame. Shame is a huge driving factor of addiction and a need for not being real with ourselves because it's too painful.
Yeah.
And shame is also a story. So reframing yourself as flawed, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Divine, but a process of uncovering. You know, we're gold at our center, but we have to dig through the mud because we're covered in mud. You know, the only reason we're not shining is because of what the world has put on top of us. So the work is about uncovering what was always there, this divine spark, this solid center that's in all of us.
And although that's new in this book, which we're both reading at the moment, it's also always already there in Full Circle Own Dope. I was built this way, you are too. Solid gold in the center, got to lift the claim. There it is.
Man, what do you know? What do you know? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Trademark, Chance York.
And yeah, shout out to Showtime for using that, because that was a much needed monetary plug that I needed to get through this year. I didn't need, but you know, it helped me through some tough financial times.
Showtime used
Own Dope,
Own Dope
on their show The Shy, which is coming back for season 3.
That is, again, a wonderful, you know, as we draw to a close, another wonderful full cycle thing.
Right.
Because, again, there's nothing wrong with survival. There's everything right about survival. There's nothing wrong with wealth.
Yeah, capitalist interests.
Yeah, exactly. But transforming, alchemizing from within. Just get, like, unlearning the less than fully true beliefs.
Was it Yoda that said you must unlearn what you have learned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old Yoda.
I'm saying those are paradigm shifts that are taking place in popular culture, even though, you know, the Jedi and the Force and everything has started in the 70s and has been, you know, more and more mainstream. These beliefs and ideas about a force that flows through all living things and everything is right there, right smack in the middle of pop culture, that we all have a yearning for, and we're drawn to this magic, this larger unseen, this esoteric thing that we all know about and have different words for.
Thank you for being in touch with yourself, being part of this paradigm shift that's helping us recognize and meet our most authentic, truest needs. Yeah.
I had to. I had to for my own survival.
Be happy for yourself, Chance. You're amazing.
Man, deep dark hope.
We didn't talk very much about the songs. That's fine. We went deeper.
Yeah.
But you can come and appreciate the songs at Mortimers on the final Thursday of this month, where Chance will be performing. Not just Chance, but also, who are you going to be performing with, Chance?
Jay Plaza, Longshot, who else?
And Rich.
Rich, my man Rich Garvey, all good friends of mine. It should be a great night.